long sikha, but because it's not so long, we're going to learn some of the ha'aras also. So it'll be more learned inside. But it's happens to be a very easy sikha just with heroes. The Rebbe says like this: Kvar duber kama pomim. I spoke many times already. Shateichno ha'ike shakol sedre. That the context of the main context of every sedre, kol parshas of the whole sedre means every section of it. Merumes b'shem shehi nikras al pi minek Yisrael hashateiri will be hinted in the name. The name of every sedre tells you what the whole teichen of the whole sedre is, not only of the beginning, of what the whole sedre is, every part of the sedre. So maybe the same thing the sedre of this week, Parsha Shlach, shenikras b'shem Shlach. It's called Shlach. So obviously, this is the teichen of the whole sedre. And with that movement, from that we understand sheb'shem zeh mizbatas hanakudei ikris shelo inyonim hameduborim b'chol parsha shebaseder. That in the word Shlach, this is like an inyan ikri, a very fundamental thing which is negaya to all the things of the parsha, the first Shlach. So even though the parsha, as the Rebbe will say, they're called Shlach because of the first word, but we'll see. But the Peil says that he spoke many times that the name of everything represents what it is. The name of a seder represents what it is. So in that case, we have to understand the kudas ha'inyan, the Shlach l'cha anoshim. What is the kudah of this thing that he said? Send people. Hareu rak sipur keides b'nei Yisrael b'yesem hamidbar. It's only telling us what happened to the Yidden when they were in the desert. And not a mitzvah. There's no mitzvah that we were told to do. In other words, like this: the further sections, the further parshias after the story of the Meraglim, mitzvah. There are mitzvahs there for all generations. Mitzvah of Challah. There are all kinds of mitzvahs there in the parsha later on. Certainly, the parsha that's the very end of the sedre, mitzvah tzitzis. The mitzvah of tzitzis, which is mitzvah klolis. It's a very general mitzvah. Which brings a person to remember all the mitzvahs. Like it says, you will see it. You remember all the mitzvahs. So that's a very, very important mitzvah, a major mitzvah. But even not that, the other parts are also mitzvahs. But the first part is not a mitzvah. It's just a story. It basically sounds like it's history. How is it possible? This word Shlach that comes from the sentence "send people," which is only a story, should be more important than the mitzvahs of the sedre, including the mitzvah of tzitzis, the mitzvah of tzitzis, which includes all 630 mitzvahs. So much so that this name, the word Shlach, expresses the main point of the whole sedre. Now, if you say the main point is tzitzis, that makes sense because it's a very important mitzvah. But to say the main point is the Meraglim, sending the Meraglim, that's a story which is fine. So why would the name of the sedre be Shlach? Now, Ha'orah 3, the Rebbe says, even though everything in the Torah is a lesson, even the stories of the Torah are a lesson. The word Torah comes from the word Hayra, which means a lesson. So what's the question? The question is, this is not so important. Why is this the name of the Seder? Why is it not so important? Because it's not a mitzvah. So the Rebbe asks in the Ha'orah, so it's not a mitzvah, but everything in the Torah teaches us some lessons. So that's why it's important. The Rebbe says still, but since the lesson, whatever the lesson is that we take out from this, the Torah gives us a lesson, means tells us what to do. But it's not written in a form that's telling us to do. See, tzitzis is written in a form, do this and this. Challah is written in a form, do this and this. But this is written as a form of a story. It's not even telling us clearly what to do. Mucha, from that is clear, it doesn't have the same strength like clear lessons. Certainly not the same strength as a portion of the mitzvah of the Torah. So it's definitely less. It's definitely less than the takeover what the Torah is telling us when it tells us actually to do a mitzvah. So why would the name of the Sedre, which includes mitzvahs, be something which is not so important, seemingly not so important? Even though simple reason why the Parsha Sedre is called Shlach is because that's the beginning of the Sedre. And the whole Sedre is called based on the beginning. Still, even though the reason, this is true, this is the reason why it's called with that name. But still, this is the name. According to the Torah, so the name must tell us the name, the meaning of the whole Seder, the Teichen of the whole Seder. Even, in other words, even though technically, how did it start? It started because it's the first few words of the Seder, but since this is what the Torah says is the name, and it's Al Pi Torah, we see, truth is, we don't really know where did it start? Where did the names of the Seder, all the Seders start? We don't know when it started. It's not clear. The Rabbi writes a whole arichas in hey, it's not clear when it started, but one thing is clear, that it's given and used by Gedolei Yisrael throughout at least 1,000 years. Rashi mentions it. Some things we find even in Gemara, but Rashi mentions names of Seder. So we see it goes back very long, and it's used all the Svarim. So Mele Salpitera, the name must mean something. Because like it says in a Posek, and the Rebbe brings it from the Mudda, from the Magid, that whatever is called by the name in Lashon HaKodesh, even a human being, the name represents the teichen of the person. The name of something represents the teichen of the thing. So the name of a Seder certainly represents. So why would Shlach, sending Meraglim, represent the whole Seder? This will be understood by first explaining what is really the sin of the Meraglim. The Pashtas chotu b'zeh, Pashtas, they sinned by this. The Shabo v'Sipru, they came and said, "Ki az ha'om ha'yeshe ba'aretz." The people who live there in the land is very strong. Ba'arim b'tzuras g'delis made. They're fortified. The cities are very big walls fortified. The Gam Yelidi Anokri Inishon, we saw the giants there. That's what they said. That's the report they gave. That's their prop. That's the sin. L'churei in the movement don't understand. Look what Moshe Rabbeinu told them to go to look for. They were sent to see what is the land like. What is the nation that's living there like? Is it strong? Is it not? What are the cities? Are they strong or not? Are they open or they're walled cities? And in conjunction with this, they answered the truth. They're strong and the walls are strong. They answered it. They came back with a report to answer exactly what they were asked to do. Why is it considered a sin? By this, they filled their mission to go and look, spy the land, see what's going on. Then they came and gave a report. So what's the real answer? So the real answer is like this. Moshe Rabbeinu sent them to find out what is the easiest way to conquer Eretz Yisrael? And from where is it better to start? Where is the easiest way to start, the best way to start this conquering? The derech hateva, naturally. In other words, we know they had to do things naturally. So Moshe sent them to find out naturally what's the way to go. Where's the easiest way to start and find out what's the best way to do. Why did he want to do it naturally? Since Hashem does not make miracles in vain for no reason, so we have to try in everything, even if it's something that you know you will need a miracle anyway later on. But you have to try to do as much as possible to do everything naturally, to minimize the amount of miracles, or the details of the miracles, as much as possible. So Moshe Rabbeinu sent them to find out in Derech HaTeva, because we have to go in Derech HaTeva. Even though the end we'll need miracles anyway, because they're so very strong. But as much as possible, we have to try to do it in Teva. Moshe was not questioning, he was sure that they will go and conquer. He came, see Hashem. Hashem said so, he knew it's going to happen. But the Meraglim, after they gave the report about the people and about the cities and about the land, they came with a conclusion. They didn't just give a report. They went to search the facts. not to give advice. They came back with the facts, fine, but then they continued with the maskana. We will not be able to go to this nation. It's stronger than we are in the Eibishter. Because of the hardships that they saw when it will come to conquer Eretz Yisrael naturally, they came to a conclusion we will not be able to do it. The cave should to conquer it. Even though Hashem said, and that's their chet, that's their sin. Really, that they only sent to see what you do naturally. You see in Order 6, when the Rebbe says here that Hashem does not do miracles in vain, he brings from Droshes Haran, Drush Ches. This is what the Ran writes. He gives an introduction there. Hashem wants to keep the natural seder of the world as much as possible. And the nature is very precious by him. Maybe only changes it if you have to. And he did many miracles. But it's not something that he wants to do. And then he says, Shabbos Nun Gimel. Shabbos Daf Nun Gimel. The Gemara tells a story that there was this person, his wife passed away, and he had a little baby, didn't have enough money to buy to feed the baby, and there was no mother to nurse. So Hashem made a miracle that the father was able to nurse the baby. Imagine. So first the Gemara says, look how great this person is that Hashem made such a miracle for him. And then the Gemara says, no, look how bad it is that Hashem had to change nature and do a miracle for him, because Hashem doesn't really like to do it. So therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu send them, find out what's the best natural way to do, because we're going to go naturally. But don't tell us whether we should go or not, because no matter what, whether it's hard or easy, we're going to go anyway. And they came back and gave that report. That's the chet. Al Pizem moving, now that we know what their problem was, so from that we understand that what happened to the Meraglim is a lesson in all mitzvahs. In other words, we could have a parasha with many mitzvahs, but there's one lesson that is the name of the parasha, because all mitzvahs are supposed to take this lesson. Yesod ikri b'kol ha-mitzvasu. What's the foundation, the main foundation of all the mitzvahs? Hayadiyah, the fact that you have to know. Since the mitzvahs are commandments of Hashem, for sure we have to know we will do it. We could do it. Because Hashem does not ask from somebody to do something, from anybody to do anything that they cannot do. So if David asks us to do a mitzvah, we have to keep in mind we could do it. That's the lesson we get for all the mitzvahs. Here we see their mistake was that they didn't accept this. They saw that you couldn't do it, so they said we can't do it. And that was wrong, and that's the whole story of the Meraglim, that they were punished out because of this problem. That's the lesson in all the mitzvahs. And by the way, the Rebbe says, by the way, there's another hero here, another lesson. The Meraglim were there by Matan Torah. Every Yid said Nasev and Ishma, which says we will do, and then we will try to understand. So they also said we will accept whatever Hashem says, no matter what. That's called Nasa before Nishma. And and still they stumbled with this. They made a mistake in this Kabbalah, in this accepting the truth of Hashem. This is a lesson to what the Chachamim tell us. Don't believe in yourself. And he doesn't bring the end here. The Rebbe doesn't like to bring these words. The end is Ad Yei Meischa, till the day you die. The Rebbe doesn't want to quote those words, I guess. So you shouldn't trust yourself ever. And here we see these Meraglim not long ago. How long was this after Matan Torah? Not long. It was a little over a year. Not much. And they stumbled over this. So that's one lesson we take, which is also a lesson to the whole Torah, that before, when we learn Torah, we have to keep in mind that when we do mitzvahs, that we have to keep in mind never to drop our guard. We have to always be careful. But the lesson that's a side lesson. But the lesson he's trying to bring in the Pnim here is in the Sikha is that the mistake of the Meraglim was that they came to a maskana. If it's hard, the derech hateva to do means that we can't do it, and that's wrong. Our approach to Torah has to be that if Hashem says we should do it, we know we could do it. And then the Rebbe goes on, why? Because Hashem would not tell us to do it if we can't do it. And he gives a logical explanation. But even a normal human being, if he's only normal, if he only speaks sensible, He will not tell somebody to do something. If he knows, if he knows the guy can't do it. You got to be nuts to ask somebody to do it, knowing that he can't do it. Certainly, if it would come from a person who made the thing that he's commanding to do. Let's say a craftsman who makes a vessel, makes a machine. When you make the machine, you make it in such a way that it should be able to fulfill the mission it's supposed to do. You won't, if you made a machine that you know can do a certain thing, then you can't expect it to do it. You got to be crazy to expect to do it. It's not normal. And if you want it to do it, you will make it in the way it should be able to do it. See, by a person, we're not so sure. He might think it could do it, and he made a mistake. He made something thinking it could do it, expecting it to do it, and really it's a mistake. That could be. But Allah has come but the Eibishter, he's the true, real goodness and righteousness. For sure, he certainly will not expect from the one he commanded. And not only he commanded this to do, he made the person he's commanding. The Eibishter made us, and then he commanded us to do it. Certainly won't expect of us something that is not in the koyach and the power. The power that he gave us, and if we don't have the power, to keep it. But and this is more than by a person. By a person, the same thing. He wouldn't do that. By a person, maybe he could make a mistake. He thinks he put it in and he didn't. But the Eibishter, there's no mistakes. So for sure, the Eibishter will not expect of a person, any person, to do something that he knows he can't do. And therefore, the first thing we have to know, if the Eibishter commanded us to do something, there is no question we could do it. But after you have that foundation, you know this. Then you got to look into nature. How can you do the mitzvah naturally? It says you should not rely on miracles. So therefore, you do have to try to go naturally. You know you can do it for sure, but you got to see the best way naturally. On the contrary, it's a very important point in mitzvahs that we have to do it naturally. And there's a reason for it. Why Taka do it naturally? Why can they expect to do miracles? So the Rebbe says a pshat. Since the main purpose of the mitzvah is that we should make a dwelling place for Hashem. In Tachtainim, in this low world, so it has to be done in the natural way. That the nature of the world, which is which is the low part of the world, the limitations of nature, you also did is become a dira for the Eibishter. So Mamela, the Eibishter wants it to be done naturally. So as soon as first thing you know that you could do it. Now you gotta send spies, so to speak, figure out a way. What's the best way? To know to find out what is the best way naturally that we could go. In this case, it was going to Eretz Yisrael, but in our case, it means to do the mitzvah. We got to find out the best way. So you got to send meraglim. Sending meraglim is not a bad thing. Sending meraglim is a good thing. To find out how to do it naturally. The Eibishter wants that because he wants you to do the mitzvah naturally. So the Rebbe said two things here. First of all, we can't rely on miracles. So we got to try naturally. Then the Rebbe added another thing. There's a concept in mitzvahs that should be done naturally. So in the Ha'ora 11, the Rebbe says, the famous story of the Alter Rebbe, when he was in jail, and they took him for interrogation, so there was no way to go but by little ship. So he went in the middle, he saw the Levana, he wanted Mechanish the Levana, so he asked the driver to stop, but the Alter Rebbe wanted Mechanish the Levana while he's standing, I don't know why. While the ship is standing, I mean, no, why? Not while he's standing. He wanted to do while the ship stopped. I don't know what would be the ship is going. Whatever the reason, it's not so pushing, but he wanted to do it when the ship stopped. So he asked him to stop, and he wouldn't stop. The prisoner is going to tell him what to do. So it stopped by itself. The Alter Rebbe made a nest, and it stopped. And then he told him, "No, will you stop it?" So he said yes. So it continued, and then he stopped it. The question that's asked, look at the Burim. He stopped it with Derech Nes, so he should have been Mechadash Levana. Why? Because he didn't want to Mechadash Levana to do the mitzvah when something happened with Derech Nes. You have to do it with Derech HaTeva. And the reason is because everything is done to bring Elokus into Teva, so you got to do it with Derech HaTeva. So Mela, the lesson here is we understand just by the Meraglim. They send, we have to send also. But before that, the first thing, the foundation is Shlach. Send spies, which means in our case, find out what's the best way to do it. The Rebbe says, since this is a lesson that has to do with all the mitzvahs, that's why this word, as the Torah teaches, this lesson, in this case, where this was preparing to enter Eretz Yisrael. Because entering Eretz Yisrael represents all the mitzvahs. The fact that the Eden went and conquered Eretz Yisrael, that is a symbol of what all the mitzvahs are all about. And therefore, this lesson, which is Negeya to all the mitzvahs, was told to us in connection to entering Eretz Yisrael. What's the pshat? Why is entering Eretz Yisrael? It's a mitzvah, but why is it the mitzvah that tells us something about everything? It says Abir Bezeh, because the pshat is like this. What is the greatness of Eretz Yisrael? So the Pasuk says, Pashas Ekev, Eretz Asher Eini Hashem Elokecha Bo Mereish Shana V'Ach Shana. It's a land that the eyes of Hashem are upon it from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. What does that mean? Now, we know the Rebbe doesn't ask the kasha, but the Chassidus asks. What does that mean? The Eibishter's eyes are means he's mashgiach. He takes care of it. He looks after it. Doesn't the Eibishter look after everything? Everything is mashgacha proti. So what does it mean? This is a land. So hainu, it means shebo hashgacha al yeni beifen pnimi v'golui. The hashgacha that the Eibishter says is deeper and more revealed. Yesem b'shara arotzes, more than all other places in the world. Zeisem eretz, it means sheba eretz hakedesh in Eretz Yisrael gamba hagashmi sheba eretz v'inyoneho, even in the physical part of the land and all the inyonim nirgash elakusta Yisrael begilu yesa. You could feel godliness more. It says that. That's the pshat. A yid in Eretz Yisrael could feel godliness more. People ask a shaila, what we see, there are so many not to firm a yid in Eretz Yisrael. So the word is, the Eibusha doesn't take away free choice. You have to want to see a lakus. A person is looking to see a lakus, comes to Eretz Yisrael, could feel a lakus more. A person who doesn't want will not feel it. But not only that, we see something in Eretz Yisrael more than in other lands. We see in Eretz Yisrael, those who are not, are against. You don't have much anti-dati in America. In Eretz Yisrael, the Fraya are against. So it's like the Ramban says, Kol ha-mekudesh b'yeser, chorev b'yeser. Whatever is holier is chorev. In other words, if you want to feel it, you'll feel it more. And if you don't want, then forget. Because the Kedusha is so strong, the Le'um hazeh is also strong. So if you don't want, it'll be like that. And it says, you see this, that's the reason why the Pasuk says the Ma'ila Eretz Yisrael, that it rains. Eretz, that Tara Shamayim Tish Tamayim, it rains. Not like Mitzrayim, where it doesn't rain. The Nile overflows and irrigates the land. What's the big deal? So it rains. Because when it rains, sometimes it doesn't. You have to daven to the Eibishter. When it rains, you have to pick up your eyes and say, Eibishter, give us the rain. That means there it's a place where you feel that everything comes from the Eibishter. Other places you don't feel. So in Eretz Yisrael, even the Gashmias is more a kela to a lakus. Al pizeh movement, from that we understand. Shaham shochas kedusha geluya, hayna lakus, to bring and revealed holiness, godliness, the inyan v'dover gashmi, in a physical thing, hareizeh bedugmas knisas hadover v'apula v'hodem apel Eretz Yisrael. It's like entering Eretz Yisrael. Entering Eretz Yisrael means entering a place where the kedusha is revealed. Zeisameres, it means shekiyum kol mitzvah bedugmas knisa Eretz Yisrael. But any mitzvah that you do is like entering Eretz Yisrael. Why? Because doing mitzvahs means bringing a lakus into Gashmias. You also al deizeh direle is baruch, it becomes a dir to Hashem. So every mitzvah is bringing a lakus in Gashmias. Entering Eretz Yisrael is that. Entering Eretz Yisrael means till the Yidden entered Eretz Yisrael, it was called Eretz Canaan. It was a Goyish land. When the Yidden entered, they brought the Kedusha. So entering Eretz Yisrael, conquering Eretz Yisrael, means taking over the Gashmias and bringing godliness into it. That's the point of every mitzvah. So from that we understand. No, this we learn. So from that it comes out that this is why the lesson that we're told Benegea the whole Torah mitzvahs, that he said the lesson of the whole Torah mitzvahs is that we have to know that we're going to do it. That's it. So the question was, why is it told to us Benegea going to Eretz Yisrael? It's something Benegea to Gans Torah. Why did they pick this? Because going to Eretz Yisrael is the point of the whole Torah. So of all the mitzvahs, bringing a lakus into Gashmias, and that's why here the Torah gave us the lesson. Well, let's learn our order 14. This will also explain why is it not one of the things we have to remember every day that we enter Eretz Yisrael? You have to remember Yetzias Mitzrayim every day. Gam Kriyas Yamsuf, it says in Yerushalmi, you have to remember the splitting of the sea. You have to remember Matan Torah. So why don't we have to remember this is a fact? Actually, entering Eretz Yisrael is behemshech to Yetzias Mitzrayim, to Kriyas Yamsuf, like the pasuk says, "Veitzeisi in Vayiro, I'll take you out. V'go'alti eschem, I'll redeem you. V'lakachti eschem lilam, and I'll take you as a nation which is Matan Torah. V'heveisi eschem al oretz, I'll bring you to the land." The whole goal of going out of Mitzrayim and everything is to get to Eretz Yisrael. So if they have to remember all the things, these few things, Yetzias Mitzrayim, Matan Torah, why don't we have to remember every day we went to Eretz Yisrael? The answer is, since any mitzvah we do is basically entering Eretz Yisrael. You don't have to remember that specific separately. It's mentioned many times a day. All the mitzvahs you do every day is really remembering Eretz Yisrael. Like what it says in Isa Betanya, it says, why did the put the mitzvah of remembering Yetzias Mitzrayim with Krishma? Because where do we fulfill this mitzvah of remembering Yetzias Mitzrayim every day? In the last parsha of Krishma, Vayomer, because it finished so many Hashem L'keich Masher Tzei Eschem Eretz Mitzrayim. Why? And that's connected to the mitzvah of Krishma. Avshei mitzvah b'fnei atzmei v'leim mitzvah Krishma. It's a separate mitzvah, not part of the mitzvah of Krishma. So why did the Chachomim or the Torah put that we have to remember Yetzias Mitzrayim by the Krishma? So the Alter Rebbe answers, because the way he explains that Krishma and Yetzias Mitzrayim is the same thing. Yetzias Mitzrayim means going out of the limitations of the world, and Krishma is also going out of your limitations and getting closer to Hashem. But he says in Tanya there that in order that Krishma should accomplish going out of Mitzrayim, you have to want to accept Hashem. So Yetzias Mitzrayim you do have to mention. Here it's automatic. Every mitzvah he does is going into Eretz Yisrael. So the lesson, and the Geya Kol HaTorah, all the mitzvahs, which is that you have to know that you're able to do it without a question, is written in connection to going into Eretz Yisrael, because that is representation of the whole, all the mitzvahs. We go further. Another general lesson, Hashayches l'chol mitzvahs, which is also connected to all the mitzvahs. The Shlach v'Yasuras Eretz Canaan, that's in this Shlach, in the union of sending, which means sending the Meraglim to search out the land. So he says like another lesson. Before a person does any mitzvah, he has to think for a moment, what is the mitzvah that I'm going to do? And not only negate the specific mitzvah, oh, I know, and now I'm going to do the mitzvah of matzah. Now I'm going to do the mitzvah of film. Before we do any mitzvah, we have to think about the common denominator of all the mitzvahs. What is a mitzvah? Whichever mitzvah it is. There are pratim in every mitzvah, what the mitzvah specifically is, and then there's a general approach to a mitzvah. So he has to, before you do the mitzvah, you have to keep in mind, what? That you're going now to do the Ibish's will. By all the brachas, we have the same loshen. It starts off like this. That's what we say by every mitzvah. Which means you have made us holy with your mitzvahs and commanded us. Which means that you're supposed to think that when you do the mitzvah, naase kodesh, you become holy. You made us holy. You fulfill what Hashem said. And that makes you connected to Hashem, united with Hashem. You made us holy. And Loshen mitzvah, the mitzvah means Loshen tzavse b'chibur, which is connection. You made us holy shows that we're holy, the holiness of Hashem. You connected us. So that's by every mitzvah. You make this bracha before you do the mitzvah. Laheres to show us, shelifnei asiyas a mitzvah, before you do a mitzvah, ala odom leizbeinen beteichen vekavon hakloli shekol mitzvahs. A person has to think, contemplate, and think about what is the meaning of a mitzvah. Not the protim of what the mitzvah, that's a separate thing. We have to think about it. I think there's a ritva in Sochim who says, interesting thing, he says, why do we have to make this good? Why do we have to make a bracha before we do the mitzvah? Because the bracha represents the spiritual aspect of the mitzvah, and the actual mitzvah is the physical act. He calls that the bracha is the avodas hanefesh, and the mitzvah is the avodas haguf. And avodas hanefesh comes before avodas haguf, which means, what's the avodas hanefesh? To realize what's happening here, we're going to connect to the Eibishter. And that we always have to think before we do a mitzvah. The Rebbe says the same thing by learning Torah. Before we start learning, every morning, before we start anything learning, we make a bracha first. And what's the bracha? He chose us from all the nations. And he gave us his Torah. It means the Eibusha gave it the Torah as it is his. The same Torah that he has. We finish off the bracha Neisen HaTorah. Baruch Atah Hashem Neisen HaTorah Lashon Heves, which is now. We don't say Nosan HaTorah. Baruch Atah, he gave us a Torah. He gives us every second. Every day, it has to be like new, like the Torah is given today. All this you're supposed to make the bracha before you learn. This is what you're supposed to think about before you start learning Torah. This is the lesson that we get from the Maraglim that were sent as a preparation to going into Eretz Yisrael. We said before, going into Eretz Yisrael is every mitzvah. Every mitzvah is called going into Eretz Yisrael, accomplishing, taking from Gashmias and making it into Ruchni, making it holy. So before we go into Eretz Yisrael, before we do a mitzvah, we have to send Maraglim, meaning, Lifnei kiyum mitzvah, before you do a mitzvah, a person is supposed to spy out, and to contemplate. What is the meaning and what is the goal of the mitzvah that we're going to do? You have to think about it before. That's sending spies. Sending spies means you look around, you look what is it all about. You have to think before and send spies in your mind. What is it all about that I'm going to do? I'm going to enter Eretz Yisrael, which I'm going to bring Lakus and Gashmias. And I'm going to connect to the Eibishter. That's what I'm going to do. This will explain. This will also explain that the meaning of Shlach. Shlach means send. Who did the Eibishter say this to? To Moshe. Moshe, you send. Moshe is the sender. Which the same thing will be, as we'll explain in a moment, to the Moshe Rabbeinu of every Yid. Every Yid, it says in Tanya, has a little nitzutz, a little spark of Moshe Rabbeinu. So we have to remember the Teichen. We understand that the Teichen of Shlach that Moshe is sending, is the whole Parshas HaTorah. That's the Nekuda and the foundation of all the Parshas of the Sedre. Shekula Nikroi Shlach, they're all called Shlach. The Shlach is said in the beginning of the Sedre, before the commandments were said. Because these lessons that we said before, that we learn from sending the Maraglim, that's the foundation and the Hadamah told the mitzvah. So both lessons. One lesson we take from them. The first one is that don't make the mistake of the Maraglim. That look how you can do it in Teva, but came to a decision that you can't do it. That's the worst. You got to remember before any mitzvah you do, you got to know you're going to do it, and that's it. Then you got to figure out what's the best way to do it. And the second lesson, that before you got to spy out what is the mitzvah. You got to spy it out before you do it. That's why you make a bracha before a mitzvah, before you learn Torah. And that is negeya to all the mitzvahs. That's why this is the beginning of the parsha. And this is in connection to going into Eretz Yisrael, which represents all the mitzvahs, because these are two special lessons for all the mitzvahs. But based on this, we have to understand Since we just finished saying that there are special lessons, very important lessons in the Inyan of the Meraglim. Something that you must do. You must know that you're able to do it. You must know that this is going to connect you to the Eibishter. Why did Hashem say it depends on if Moshe wants it? He said, Shlach lecha. What does lecha mean? Sent to you. So Rasha says, L'daitecha. According to your opinion. I'm not telling you to do it. If you want, you could send, but I'm not telling you. But l'chure, if it's such an important lesson, so how does that fit? In other words, it's not like a kasha. Why did David tell him? That's what David wanted in that situation. But what does that mean to us in our lesson? The lessons that were taken out, the two lessons, what do we take out from the fact that David didn't tell him to do it? That seems to contradict the lesson. The lessons are how important these two things are. Important? It's not so important. What I David said to him, and I'm not telling you to do it, doesn't have to be. You don't have to send. We're just saying now that you have to send, you have to do this in Ruchnias. But there's another point here that says don't have to. But the Rebbe is going to explain it's not so. The Yuvan Pia Mavur Leil. This will be explained, but based on what we said before. We said before that the tachlis of all Torah mitzvahs is to bring godliness into the gashmistic things. And like it says in the Medrash, in the Medrash says what was so special about Matan Torah? The Medrash says that it means first there was a decree that there were Yenim, Ruchnisdike things, and Tachtenim, Gashmisdike things, and they couldn't mix. And Matan Torah, David said, from now on, the Tachtenim can go up to the Yenim, which means you are able to connect Gashmis to Ruchnis, to the Kus. Okay, now, the difference between higher and lower in our situation. Yeah, the difference higher and lower could be in a lot of things. Could be in a house, how high the house is, how tall a person is. Our situation, what is the higher, what is the lower here that we're talking about? The Medrash says, David said, I'm going to combine the two. The lower and the higher. What's the lower and what's the higher? The higher is David, the creator, and the lower is the creation, the creatures. What is the difference between them? The creator is the mashpia. He's the giver. The nivra ubchenes makabel. A creature, the creation, is receiving. The Eibishter doesn't receive from anything. The Eibishter has everything. The Eibishter is doing things. But the nivra on its own is not a mitzias, has no mitzias. The whole mitzias that the whole creation has is what he got from the creator. A Torah mitzvah, he said, the whole tachlis is that the tachten, which is the creation, should connect itself and become part of the creator. So what does this mean if you put it in other words? That the Elyon, the Eibishter, is the mashpia, is the giver. The tachten should also become a giver, which means, where do we find such a concept? The Chazal say, in certain cases, it says if a person says Vayichulu Friday night with whole kavanah, he becomes a partner to the Eibishter in the creation. He's also part of the creation. He's a creator. Or it says Dayan is Dana Dinamis Lamite, whatever. Which means just like the Eibishter made the Maisa Breishis, made the creation, a Yid is able to create. When you change over the creation from Gashmias to Ruchnias, you are basically creating. You're bringing a new creation. And there's a lot to it, not only here, in other siches. When David created the world, it says he didn't finish it off. I don't know what that means, but the Gemara says he didn't make all sides. There was one side he left unfinished. Why did he leave it unfinished? It says because he wants the Yidden to finish it. That's why it says, Ashebora Lakim, we say in Vaychula, Ashebora Lakim Lases, that David created the world in 6 days. Lases, what does that mean? You ever think about it? He created the 6 days, Lases, to do. What do you mean to do? He created the world in 6 days. So Rashi Medrash says, Lases means he created the world. Lases, that Lesakin, you have to fix it. You have to finish it off. And which side does the Gemara say didn't he finish? Sofin side. That's the north. So the Rebbe says in a different place, Tzofin represents Klippe. The posik, Tzofein tipos hachara, that the evil will come from Tzofein. There is klip in the world, which means there's a hell of a hester. There's gashmias, which covers up on the truth of godliness. The Eibusher said, I want you to fix it. So really, when we fix it, we're a creator. We're finishing the creation. That's been the geya. They become a partner to creation by mitzvahs. By Torah also, when we learn Torah, Omer Azal, Shakadosh Baruch Chayich Ve'emen Nitzchuni B'nei Nitzchuni. Gemara tells a story. That there was an argument between the Eibishter and the Mesifta Derakia. The yeshiva in the heavens argued with the Eibishter on a certain din. And the next day, one of the Tanoim met Eliyahu Novi. He says, what's happening? What's the Eibishter doing? The Eibishter is smiling and says, Nitzchuni B'nei Nitzchuni, you won. He gave the Torah to us that we should add. A partner, when we say we become a partner to the Eibishter, a partner means sometimes this partner wins. Whenever you have a dispute, sometimes this partner wins. So it comes out here that we become partners. We could create the creation by doing mitzvahs. And in Torah, we Yisrael meisifim mashpiyim b'Torah. It says that Yidden add in Torah. It says that a Yid has to make chedushim, add in Torah. The Eibishter wants us to do it. So when it says what the Eibishter wanted here is what the creation is, we should bring ruchnis into gashmis, which means to elevate the gashmis should become like the ruchnis, which the creation should become like the creator. That's what the Eibishter wants. And that's the tachlis of Torah mitzvahs. That's what the union of entering Eretz Yisrael is, which is the tachlis of combining gashmis and ruchnis. Now we'll understand why this was not told as a tzivui. Now we'll understand why it wasn't said as a commandment, even though the lesson we said before is a must. Why was it not given as a must? You must do it. When the person does what Hashem commanded him to do, in Afshal Dizeh Misale, you do what Hashem wants, you go up high madregas, you connect yourself, fine. You don't reach the highest level, which we said is to become mashpia. Because if you're doing what someone else told you, you're makabel. You're taking what he said and you're doing it. You're only doing what he told you, and he gave you the power to do it. So you're makabel from David. You did it, you have choice, Avadi, you give you credit. But still, a very big part of it is what the Eibishter gave you. But if something is done just according to your decision, you're doing it by yourself and with your own power. That's when you become mashpia. You're giving something because you weren't supposed to do. You weren't given it. You give it. Which Bechlal says in Chassidus that this is the maila of doing something that you know is right and you weren't commanded. See, there are two things. The Gemara says, God la mitzvah ve'isa, mishena mitzvah ve'isa. A person is commanded to do something, mitzvah, is greater than the one that is not commanded. That's from one angle. But another angle, if you do something that you know is a nice thing to do, the Eibusher would enjoy it, but you didn't ask you to do it. That shows that you yourself are doing something for the Eibusher, not only following instructions. You on your own. Takamoshel says with a person has an Eved, there's two types of Eved, Eved Nemon. There could be an Eved that does everything that he's told to do. Mamish, everything A to Z. Then there's another type of Eved that even if he's not told by his master to do it, but he knows that the master enjoys this, he will go on his own and do it. That's even a higher madrege. So in this case, if a Yid does that, then you are mashpia. You're not only makabel, you're taking your mashpia. This is the maila of doing lifnim mishura sadin. It says you should do things beyond the requirement of the law. Because the Gemara says in Psachim a very strange thing. The Gemara says, what cost Churban Yerushalayim? What cost Churban Beis Hamikdash? They did, the Gemara answered, because they did everything al pitayr, al pidin. The Gemara said, wow, what's the problem with that? The Gemara answers, they did everything al pidin, nothing more. They didn't do lifnim mishura sadin. So they didn't really do the tachlis. And that's why there was a Churban Beis Hamikdash, imagine. So lifnim mishura sadin is this. And that's the reason why the Eibishter, in this great Heroah that the Eibishter gave, the two Heroahs we said, left it also that shouldn't be a tzivui. Because it's all, the whole kavanah is that you, the kush, should penetrate into a yid, and the yid, which is part of the creatures, part of the creation, should connect itself to the Eibishter to become mashpia. That is done mainly, completely, when you do it on your own. This explains deeper why before the Torah tells us the story of the Maraglim, he tells us, no, before he tells us the Tzivuyim, the commandments, he tells us the story of the Maraglim. Why? So before we said, why? Because this is the hachana to all the mitzvahs. So this is the first thing. Not only, like we said before, that those lessons that we took is something that's negated to all the mitzvahs. So before you start all the mitzvahs, you got to know these lessons. Also, the way that this was told, the way that sending him around was told, which means that it was told to Moshe, not the tzivui that he has to do it, but told him you decide to do it. That's the real tachtenim yalov v'elyonim. Then you really connect to the elyonim, because then you become mashpia, and mashpia you're like the Eibishter, and that's the tachlis that the Eibishter wants. The Eibishter wants that the Yidden should become mashpia. But just to finish up, the nekuda is, it says that there are four things in the world: daimim, tzameach, chai, medaber. The tachlis of each one of these four is to reach the next level. The tachlis of daimim is to become tzameach. If the earth makes things grow, so the earth turns into growth. The tachlis of tzameach, things that grow, is to be eaten by an animal. So when the animal eats the grass, it becomes part of the animal, which is chai, which is animal. When the human being eats an animal and it becomes dambabos, it becomes part of him. So the animal, that chai, is elevated to a medaber. So everything has to go to the next level. What's the next level? Where does the medaber go? The medaber, the human being, is the top of the creation. What's the next level? The creator. So a yid, who's the top of medaber, who wants to reach the next level, has to kiviyochel become like the creator. Kiviyochel. And what is to be the mashpia? That's what the Rebbe says. And that's the pshat. It says in Orah 28, brings a medrash. Just like the Eibishter created, the others could create. It means the Yidden could create. I mean, the Yidden create. How could they create? When we do this, the Yidden could create. That's called creation. They become mashpia. And that's, so we take here three lessons from the Inyan of Meraglim. One lesson is, the first lesson is that not to be like the Meraglim who came to a decision that we can't do it, even though David said yes. We have to know that's the mistake. First thing we have to know, we can do anything David wants, we can do. The second thing is, just like the Meraglim were sent to spy out the place, we, before we do a mitzvah, which entering Eretz Yisrael represents every mitzvah, we have to spy out, know what we're doing. What is it? Think, what is a mitzvah? And the third thing is that we have to do things which are even more than what we're commanded. Then we have the tachlis of what the Eibishter wants. That's what Taka says in Chassidus, that when the tachlis is not only Torah mitzvahs, do your own things that make Gashmias into Ruchnis, utilize all the Gashmias things in serving Hashem. Okay, that's the end of the Sikha. So we're the Sikhas. Yes.